My tooltip suggests I'm hitting for 200,000, but my real DPS can hit up to 38 million. In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to know your true damage potential for your Spark character. Hey guys, Anime Princess here, and I think this is going to be one of the most important videos for anyone past the early game and they're looking to really scale their character and min-max it. Today we're going to be covering how to calculate your real DPS on Spark. So right off the bat, let's just make it really clear. Your Spark tooltip means nothing, absolutely nothing. Do not look at it. As for your path of building hit DPS for Spark, this is quite meaningful. However, we are likely hitting on much higher multiples of this. So I know a lot of you guys aren't going to want a math lesson. We're going to have to do a little bit of math, but I'm going to try and make the conclusions very easily understandable. And we're going to keep the math to an absolute minimum. Spark has a base duration of 2 seconds, which means after 2 seconds, your sparks will disappear. Like most other skills in the game, sparks cannot shotgun, which means even if we shoot out 10 projectiles into an enemy with a single cast, only one of those projectiles are going to do damage, and then they're going to turn off for 0.66 seconds, in which they do no damage, and after the 0.66 seconds, we're able to do more damage from that single cast. And since Spark has a base duration of 2 seconds, you can do 2 seconds divided by 0.66, which means a Spark can hit up to 3 times per cast. Our hit DPS is the damage of a single Spark bolt. So if we scale our skill effect duration, we're going to be able to double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, etc., our damage, and we're going to be able to scale this damage extremely far. On the tree, we grab skill effect right here, and what this does is it boosts our duration to 3.2 seconds from the base of 2 seconds. So the real calculation you guys should be doing to find out how many hits your Spark can do is 3.2 divided by 0.66. which gives us the opportunity to hit 4.8 times. You may have noticed that I have my config set up to 8 times Spark hits per cast. This is because I'm using the unique ring NTR created by Jung Roan, and what this does, normally it would make your projectiles return to you, but it seems to do different things for different skills. And for Spark, after our skill effect duration finishes, instead of the projectiles simply coming back to us, the projectiles refresh and have another duration. So what this does is it essentially doubles our skill effect duration, which mathematically should double our DPS. So let's cast once and see how long these sparks last. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It lasts 6 seconds instead of 3 seconds. Basically, this ring is extremely broken. For Spark in particular. But that is a tangential story, and this video is really about how we can make sure we're going to be hitting for our maximum theoretical DPS rather than the minimum, which is the on hit. So let's cover that on how we can gear our character to, practically speaking, get higher multiples of damage. The factors that can help scale our hit damage multiplicatively are highlighted in red. As we just covered, increasing your skill effect duration will help you hit higher multiples of damage on your initial Spark hit. However, you will also need projectile speed to make sure your projectiles are able to bounce off of objects and back onto the boss fast enough so that we can hit the high multiples. Now, number of Spark bolts works similarly to projectile speed in that the more sparks we have per cast, the more sparks are bouncing and filling up the arena, and the higher chance we're going to have that for every cast, another Spark is going through the boss every 0.66 seconds, which is the duration they need to rearm in order to do another instance of damage. After you run out of Pierce, that projectile is going to cease to exist. However, you do not need to have too much Pierce, because keep in mind, every cast is generating a ton of projectiles. So it's okay for some projectiles from every cast to run out of Pierce and disappear. You just need to have enough left over that they can keep bouncing back and hitting the target for the full skill effect duration. The The final factor is out of your control in how you build your character. However, you can choose specific maps and choose specific boss arenas that work in Spark's favor. When you are fighting in a closed off and small area, it makes it much, much, much easier to hit your maximum theoretical damage because the sparks are contained and they're going to easily pass through the boss multiple times. Arenas that work in our favor are most notably the Maven boss arena. So the Maven fight itself, as well as all of her witness fights, such as the Feared, the Formed, the Forgotten, etc. Those have a small circular arena, and with enough projectile speed and enough spark bolts and skill effect duration, we can't even see the floor. It just gets such nice coverage. Examples of bad arenas would be Searing Exarch or Cyrus. Those arenas are so huge that your sparks will bounce like 2 or 3 screens away before they come back. You can also apply this to maps where smaller maps such as Toxic Sewers, you're going to hit really high damage multiples, whereas open maps such as Dunes, you may hit closer to the minimum. However, with maps, you don't need that much damage. So at some point in your progression, you will stop having to worry about that. Now to actually configure your damage multiplier down here, you would go to Skills, select your spark. You need to include it in the full DPS, and then you put your multiplier count in this input. And I think I should include a disclaimer that just because your maximum theoretical damage, at least for me, it would be 38 million. This does not mean I'm ever hitting at 38 million because this isn't like the perfect situation, right? And realistically playing, you're not going to be in that perfect situation almost ever. So my damage is realistically not 38 million, but that's my damage like potential. That's the cap of my damage right now. And you'll have to use common sense to know how close you are to the absolute minimum, which is your hit DPS, versus how close you are to the actual maximum. And that would be factored in mostly due to the boss arena, as well as obviously your projectile speed and your sparks and all that stuff we covered just now. I hope this video clarified how to measure your damage on Spark, and I should be going live on Twitch after this uploads. Hope y'all are having some nice holidays, and I will see you guys in the next one.